Yo guys, what's going on? Robert Warshack here. Sorry, I'm getting over a bit of a cold, which is why I haven't been streaming and not as many videos lately. But I needed to make this one because there was the update. A bunch of cards got changed, and I was hoping the meta would shift for the betterment. A lot of new decks would pop up, and we'd see the meta, be fresh. Unfortunately, after a couple days and seeing where the meta has landed, basically every deck that was the best deck before the nerfs are still the best decks after the nerfs. So taking a look at the only kind of, I would say, different deck of the pack that we have here, it's going to be the Bolinar Freeze OTK Shaman with the Defilers and the Dunk Tanks and the Medic. A couple rendition of free Shamans have popped up over the course of this expansion. It was originally just like a pure free Shaman, and then it moved to more of like a control Shaman. Now it's moved to like the free Shaman with the control package, with also the OTK package with the Defiler. We're also seeing the Burn Shaman pick back up. That one still is getting traction and is definitely not as popular as the OTK free Shaman, which is this. For those of you unfamiliar with this particular combo, you're going to corrupt this Medic, you're going to corrupt the Dunk Tank, you're going to use those cards within a game, and then you're going to play the Bolinar, and then you're going to Lightning Bloom, and then you're going to play Defiler. And then Defiler is going to give you all of those corrupt cards that you had played, which is the Medic and the Dunk Tank. You use your Dunk Tanks, and then you use your Medic. And then because she's a Battle Cry, and Bolinar will trigger the first Battle Cry you play that turn, Defiler hits again, and your hand gets filled up with Dunk Tanks and Medics again. So very, very cool. If you're playing it, it's fun. If you're playing against it, it's not very fun. Shaman deck. And yeah. Even though that Snowfall Guardian did get hit with that 1-mana nerf, he's still a really, really, really good card. And that's probably mainly because you can combo him with Brilliant McCall, and you're paying 3 mana for his effect. So, Shaman, very, very good right now. A lot of people playing it. Moving to Face Hunter.
Yo guys, I appreciate you watching my videos. I'm happy you like the content, but if you're not subbed, please sub, because over 50% of the people who are watching the content are not subbed, and it really affects the channel in a bad way. If you want me to keep doing what I love and you like the videos, just make sure you support the channel. And if you don't, I guess that's okay too.
Even though the Iron Deep Trog did get nerfed and this deck no longer plays them, it still has all of the other great Face Hunter cards it had previously. It actually doesn't even run Mancrick anymore. It just runs the Arcane Anomaly with a whole bunch of like the Doggy Biscuits and the Ramming Mounts, and then you finish up with the Trampling Rhino. Face Hunter is just one of those decks, and it's always been one of those decks that just does really, really good on ladder, and not the hardest deck to play. And there's people playing it from top 100 Legend all the way down into Bronze. So Face Hunter is a deck that. So if you like a very fast-paced aggro deck that punishes those slower decks, Face Hunter, still always there for you. Taking a look at my most hated deck, basically ever. I despise this deck, but it doesn't make it any less good. Libram Paladin, again, it did lose that Iron Deep Trog, which was a huge part of this deck's early game. You'd play Iron Deep Trog, you follow up with Hand of Adal, you follow up with Noble Mount, and things like that. And you kind of just won the game. 50% of the time, if you turn one Iron Deep into a turn 2 Hand of Adal, you just won. And, we see that a ton with Aldor Attendant into Hand of Adal, and we know how powerful that is. So this deck did get hit a little bit with the Trog, and Bannerman also went to a 2-1, but that didn't really change the deck at all. The deck still does exactly what the deck does. It's still really, really good, and it's still smooth brain. So, Libram Paladin, still incredibly powerful. You play the 1-mana card on 1, the 2-mana card on 2, the 3-mana card on 3. You play the 4-mana card on 4. At any point in time, you can't do that. Just do that. This deck is, yeah, it's great. Heading on over to Quest Warrior, this deck did get nerfed just the slightest bit. The 1-mana 2-2 turned into a 1-mana 2-1. So now if you're playing against a class that has like a rogue or a mage or a druid, they can ping off this card on turn 2 instead of it not dying to the hero power. So over the course of the game, this does help out a little bit, just for removal purposes. But the deck still does exactly what the deck does, and that's kill you very, 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 very fast. In my opinion, basically every time a deck get nerfed, everybody who played that popular deck is going to go, oh my god, what's the next best deck I can play? And it's Pirate Warrior right now. So Pirate Warrior is, we're seeing a lot of it on ladder. And that's just because it's really not that expensive of a deck to play. and it's just really, really good, and it closes out most matches by turn 6, 7, or 8. And unfortunately, it's turned into really just a Smork deck, and that's originally not what the Quest Pirate was about. Back when, you know, before we had the Scampies, before we had the Cannoneers, before we had Smite, it was more like a control deck, and now it's just pure aggro. So this deck's really, really good. A lot of people are still playing it, and they didn't, like, I was really hoping they would change Raid the Docks like they did with the Overload Shaman quest, where they made it 3-3-2. So you just make the second part of the quest, instead of 2 pirates, it's 3 pirates. And I think that would slow down this deck a turn, and it would make it so it's not just overwhelmingly Smork, and it's just a tad bit slower, just like they did with a lot of the other most popular decks, with Octobot going to 3, Celestial going to 8, and things like that. So unfortunately, Quest War did not get touched, and that is why it is very, very popular and very, very good. Moving to our last deck, Garrett Rogue. The Garrett Rogue was brought by basically every single player who went to the World Championship this year, which was this past weekend. And even with the Octobot going to 3 mana, this deck is still played at top 100 Legend by the best players in the game. They said this deck is still the best deck in the game, and it's not even close. The best players in the game are telling you that the Garrett Rogue, even after 2 rounds of nerfs, one being to Garrote and one being to the Octobot, it's still the best deck in the game if played correctly. Tells you something about just how overwhelmingly powerful and how much draw the Rogue has on its side. Keep in mind, though, when the rotation this upcoming year does occur, the Rogue is losing stuff like Secret Passage. I know Jay Alexander made like a giant list of cards that currently are found in every Rogue deck. We'll have to see where Rogue lands after this upcoming rotation. But yeah, unfortunately, I wish I had some cooler decks to show you guys for the new most popular 5 decks, but basically everybody just went right back to whatever the best deck was, or they just took out the cards that got nerfed and then just refilled it with cards that didn't get nerfed. So that's Hearthstone ladder for you. But with that, so hopefully this helps you figure out what to play on ladder to do well. I will see you guys in the next video. Of course, I'm Robert Warshack. Happy whatever the hell day it is.